Cuando se alzó mi bandera, la tuya lo haría igual. Y fue esa vez la primera que juntos quisimos volar. Cuba y Puerto Rico son de un pájaro las dos alas.
Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, por eso te quiero tanto, Puerto Rico.
Saludos al pueblo cubano que hoy nos sintoniza. Mi nombre es Solimar Ortiz Jusino del grupo de comunicadores del Comité de Solidaridad con Cuba en un segmento más de Puerto Rico. ¡Somos Caribe! En este programa presentamos la primera parte del resumen que hicimos sobre el evento de la Diáspora Caribeña celebrado en mayo 2021, confirmando una vez más que Cuba no está sola. Verán algunas de las participaciones durante el foro contra el bloqueo a Cuba de la Diáspora Caribeña en los Estados Unidos. Nos parecen muy importantes esas voces del Caribe en los Estados Unidos, particularmente cuando se acerca el Junte Continental de Solidaridad con Cuba en Santiago el próximo mes de julio, a 125 años de la invasión yanqui a Cuba y a Puerto Rico y los 70 del Moncada. Les traemos a nuestro hermano puertorriqueño Benjamín Ramos y al compañero dominicano Radamés Morales, ambos integrantes del Movimiento de Solidaridad con Cuba en Nueva York. Igualmente, les presento al compañero jamaicano Bamboche Shango, ex copresidente de la Red Nacional de Solidaridad con Cuba en los Estados Unidos. ¡Adelante!
Puerto Rico, siempre con Cuba. Hola, my name is Benjamin Ramos. I'm one of the representatives of the Pro Libertad Freedom Campaign, and I'm also representing the revolutionary Puerto Rican diaspora here in New York City. I was asked to put this statement together by our family in Puerto Rico, the ICAP, that wanted to hear a little bit about the work that takes place in the Puerto Rican diaspora and why we support Cuba. First and foremost, I want to start off with some history. I'm a history teacher. New York City has a very unique history of Puerto Rico and Cuba solidarity. This is the city where revolutionary Cubans and revolutionary Puerto Ricans who were fighting against Spanish colonialism and against Spanish slavery, both in Cuba and Puerto Rico, were able to flee to when they had their lives threatened in Cuba and Puerto Rico and they had to leave. This was one of the few places they were able to come where they were able to meet, to plan, to strategize. This is the city where the Puerto Rican flag, esta bandera puertorriqueña, was created here in New York City. And of course, it was based on the Cuban flag because these revolutionaries were able to come here and meet and build strong ties of solidarity that hundreds of years later still exist. It's a very unique history that people forget about, and that's why this city will always have, Puerto Rico and Cuba linked together. I was asked to talk a little bit about the work that we do here in the diaspora for Puerto Rico. As all of you already know, Puerto Rico has been a colony of the United States for over 122 years, and the diaspora has always been a part of that independence movement. This city, this diaspora has been the center of solidarity work for Puerto Ricans that were arrested and were political prisoners. This has been a place where we have raised money for campaigns and projects on the island. This has been a place that we have been able to safeguard the life of Puerto Rican revolutionaries. This city has been, and this diaspora has been key in creating an international solidarity. Here in New York City, what do we Boricuas do? Well, we raise awareness of Puerto Rican colonialism. We fight against gentrification in our neighborhoods here, and we tie the link with what happens in Puerto Rico, because Puerto Rico is also being gentrified left and right. We fight against the privatization of social services here in New York City, and we build the solidarity tie with what's happening in Puerto Rico with all of the social services being privatized as well. Here in New York City, we fight against the pollution and contamination ecological contamination of our neighborhoods, and we build that solidarity what's happening in Puerto Rico as the U.S. tries to contaminate and destroy the environments of various neighborhoods and municipalities on the island. So what we do here in the diaspora is we bring a lot of what's happening in Puerto Rico into a political context that then fits here. We do the comparison, we contrast and we compare, and we talk to other communities outside of the Puerto Rican community and raise consciousness amongst them. When our political prisoners, the Puerto Rican political prisoners, went to jail, we did a lot of work, not only within the Boricua community, but within the Cuban community, the African American community, various Asian communities, various Middle Eastern communities, to talk about our brothers and sisters that were in jail and why they were in jail. And we were able to create solidarity links between all of those struggles and our struggles, especially since we had the same common enemy, the same common force of repression, which is the U.S. government. And of course, the most important work that we do here in New York City is we are in solidarity with the Cuban Revolution. We stand with our Cuban brothers and sisters and fighting to destroy this disgusting blockade, this inhuman, cruel blockade that the international community all agrees should not exist except for the United States. We stand proudly with our Cuban brothers and sisters when the Cuban Five were arrested. The Boricuas were some of the first to get up and start organizing campaigns calling for the release of the Five. Don Rafael Cancel Miranda, que descanse en paz, always said que Cuba es nuestra segunda patria, la tenemos que apoyar y defender. Cuba is our second homeland, our second mother country, and we have to support it and we have to fight for it. And that is something that we in the diaspora are always going to do. Our Cuban brothers and sisters are that. They're our siblings, they are our family, and we will always stand with Cuba because Cuba is a revolution that we look to as an example of what a free, socialist, independent Puerto Rico could look like. We will always stand with Cuba. We always have and we always will. Que viva Puerto Rico libre, que viva Cuba libre y socialista. Gracias.
Mis más gratos saludos a todos y todas los participantes del Foro de la Diáspora contra el bloqueo. Me llamo Radamés Morales, residente en los Estados Unidos, Nueva York en particular. Soy dominicano de nacionalidad, pero me siento tan puertorriqueño como Eugenio María de Hostos y tan cubano como Máximo Gómez. Yo represento varias organizaciones, entre ellas el Ministerio de Solidaridad con los Pueblos de la Iglesia Santa Cruz, Hollywood, la coalición Cuba Sí, el Consejo de Asesores de Pro Libertad y Fuerza de la Revolución. Mi solidaridad con Cuba se inicia en el año 1970, porque fui miembro del Partido Comunista Dominicano, donde me forjé, el cual viene siendo una rama de lo que es la Fuerza de la Revolución hoy en día. El Partido Comunista Dominicano a su militante lo orientaba y lo capacitaba en la formación y muchas escuelas de cuadros que se daban en la ciudad, y muy en particular la participación en Casa de las Américas. Ahí nos forjamos, trabajando con Casa de las Américas, una versión cubana que siempre se solidarizó con todos los pueblos de América Latina y el mundo. El pueblo cubano necesita del apoyo, y no solamente de América Latina, sino también del pueblo norteamericano, porque el beneficio se hará y debe ser y es mutuo. La lucha continúa, nosotros seguimos trabajando, y para el 30 de mayo tendremos una caravana de solidaridad con el pueblo cubano y contra el bloqueo, en la cual tanto la comunidad dominicana, a la cual yo represento, como el pueblo también norteamericano participará para ayudar y aportar a romper el bloqueo. Cuba fue, es y seguirá siendo el faro de América Latina y del mundo, de gran parte del mundo. Por eso seguimos insistiendo de que Cuba no está sola. ¡Viva Cuba socialista! Cuba sí, bloqueo no.
My name is Bomboshi Shango. I was one of the co-chairs of the NNOC. I am an African born in the Caribbean island of Jamaica. I am pleading today for my fellow brothers and sisters to recognize the debt of gratitude we owe Cuba for their role in keeping us alive through earthquakes, pandemics, and hurricanes. It is how, over time, that we stand up and stand with and for Cuba. Once and for all, the blockade must be lifted and Cuba must be free. If not now, when? If not us, who? Cuba sí, blockade no.
¿Qué mejor muestra de amor entre los pueblos que la solidaridad? Ciertamente, es justo e necesario acotar las palabras del Che, de quien conmemoramos su 95 aniversario el pasado 14 de junio, cuando nos dice, y cito, la solidaridad es la ternura de los pueblos. Cierro la cita. Las palabras de Benjamín, Radamés y Bamboche demuestran que la humanidad de Cuba y la fuerza de la revolución repercuten en todo el mundo y continuaremos luchando hasta conseguir el fin de este cruel e inhumano bloqueo. Agradecemos como siempre su sintonía y nosotros nos despedimos ratificando que el imperialismo no puede bloquear la solidaridad entre Cuba y el mundo entero. ¡Hasta luego!
Aprendimos a quererte desde la histórica altura donde el sol de tu bravura le puso cerco a la muerte.
Aquí se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia, comandante Che Guevara.
Tu mano gloriosa y fuerte sobre la historia dispara cuando todo Santa Clara se despierta para verte.
Aquí se queda la clara, la entrañable transparencia de tu querida presencia,